Have you ever just felt like you're drowning in words? You know, for every single new word you learn, it feels like there are 1,000 more you don't know. Well, today, we're going to explore 3 totally different ways to think about vocabulary. So forget that old-school brute force memorization. We're going to look at it through the eyes of an architect, a historian, and a hacker.
I mean, the sheer scale of the English language it's just massive. We're talking about over 170,000 words that are in current use right now. It's like staring up at a giant mountain of words. And for anyone trying to learn, the question is always the same. Where do you even begin to climb?
And if that huge number doesn't quite hit home, check this out. Over 31,000. Now, that's not the total number of words you need to learn. Nope, that is the number of vocabulary questions in just one exam guide. It feels impossible, right? But what if we've been looking at this whole thing the wrong way? Let's explore a better way.
So our first approach is what I like to call the architect's blueprint. This is for anybody who looks at the complete chaos of language and just feels this deep need to build a system, to bring some structure and order to it all.
The core idea here is actually really powerful. You stop trying to memorize individual, disconnected words. Instead, you start looking for the patterns, the hidden connections between them. You build a mental framework, kind of like a map of the language, and then you just slot the words into place.
And this is what it looks like in practice. The architect categorizes everything. You end up with these super focused lists for phobias, for manias, words for killing, different kinds of government, even types of worship.
And as you keep going, you start to recognize the actual building blocks of the language. Suffixes like ology for the study of, or graphy for the writing of. You can group words by theme, age, sleep, places. All of a sudden, each category becomes a new, neatly organized room in your mental library.
So check this out. Here's the system in action. Once you learn that phobia means fear, you've basically unlocked a secret code. Acrophobia is the fear of heights. Gamophobia, fear of marriage. And ergophobia, which might just be the most relatable one of all, is the fear of work. When you see the pattern, you decode the language.
But okay, what happens when that big picture system just isn't enough for one really tricky word? Well, that's when we pivot. We go from the architect's sprawling city plan, and we zoom way in with the historian, who puts a single word right under a magnifying glass.
Welcome to our second world. Here, instead of learning 100 words superficially, we're going to learn one word 100 times deeper. Let's take the word fastidious. Now, you probably think it means being clean and tidy, but as Merriam-Webster points out, its past is, well, it's a little bit disgusting.
Today, this is what fastidious means. Someone who's meticulous, super detail-oriented, maybe even a bit of a neat freak. It has a pretty positive, or at least a neutral feel to it.
But look where it comes from. It's actually a mashup of 2 Latin words, fastus, meaning arrogance or haughtiness, and tedium, which means disgust, and gives us our modern word tedious. So, arrogance and disgust. Whoa. Suddenly the word has a completely different flavor, doesn't it?
This timeline really shows its journey. Back in the 15th century, it meant you were scornful, just plain disagreeable. By the 19th century, it kind of softened to mean hard to please. And only pretty recently has it come to mean attentive to detail. Knowing this whole backstory gives the word a depth that a simple definition never could.
Okay, so we've had the architect's grand system and the historian's deep story. Now it's time to meet our third thinker, the hacker. See, the hacker doesn't really care about systems or history. They just want the fastest, most direct shortcut to remembering a word, period. This is the world of mnemonics, or, memory tricks. It's all about creating a strange or funny or just totally unforgettable mental image that links a word directly to its meaning. It's not about logic at all. It's about whatever gets the job done.
Let's try a few out. First word up, adamant. It means you're stubborn, totally unshakable in your opinion. And here's the hack. Just picture a tiny, incredibly persistent ant that absolutely refuses to move. A damn ant is adamant. It's silly, it's simple, and it's probably stuck in your head now, isn't it?
All right, next one, frugal. This means being economical, really careful with your money, and avoiding waste.
Now, the mnemonic from the source material for this one is, let's just say it's creative. It links frugal to the phrase few girl, with the bizarre logic that this would save money. It's an absolutely absurd connection, but that's the whole point of the hacker's method. Sometimes the weirdest link is the one you'll never forget.
And for our last example of the hacker's approach, we've got lethal. meaning deadly or fatal.
The mind trick here is to literally hear the words inside the word. You break it apart into this short, dramatic sentence. Let her die with a lethal weapon. It's pretty grim, I know, but it creates this strong phonetic link that's really hard to forget. The hacker values effectiveness over elegance every single time.
So, we've explored the three worlds: the superstructured architect, the deep-diving historian, and the clever hacker. So the big question is, which one is the best approach to use? Well, the real secret is that you don't have to choose. The most effective learners actually combine all three strategies. You use the architect's logic to map out the big picture. When one specific word is really important or just confusing, you put on your historian hat to dig into its story. And for those few stubborn words that just won't stick, that's when you call in the hacker for a clever mind trick.
Ultimately, mastering vocabulary isn't about finding one single magic bullet. It's about building a versatile toolkit. The architect gives you the blueprint, the historian gives you the precision instruments, and the hacker, well, the hacker throws in the duct tape. You need all three to build something great. So the only question left is, how will you build yours?